Hey everybody. Okay, here we go. So, first of all, let me apologize. Yes, I have seen it a lot. I was annoyingly busy this week, and I was seeing things come in, people were tagging me. Thank you for that. I managed to have a few short conversations with my fandom besties and answer a couple of things here and there, but overall, I just didn't have time to actually stop and react to it. So that's why I'm doing this video now. So, yes, Emily has been seen filming for Dead City. And, the first thing I was getting is a lot of, do you think it's real? Yeah, it's been pretty much proven to be real now. She is filming, or was when they took these pictures. And the funny thing is, especially even if you look at this picture, which was the first one I saw, um, they're not trying to hide it, like not at all. In fact, they're really flaunting it. Here, it almost looks like Lauren is posing for the camera, and Emily's looking off in the other direction. So the next question is, I'm going to go through a few things that I've looked at, and then we'll go through and look at all the asks and the comments, and we're just going to read through what everybody's saying, and I'll get to as much as I possibly can. Also, I'm kind of shafting the earlier asks in favor of this for today, but I'm going to do another video for later in the week. Again, I apologize, and I know I didn't get a video out this past week, but it was just not in the cards for me. So hopefully this week will be a little bit calmer. Anyway, like you guys, seriously, I was on like 6 hours of Zoom meetings yesterday. It royally sucked. Thankfully, I don't have any Zoom calls today, so I can do this video. All right, so of course, at first we weren't sure if it was a flashback. I think that's what most people defaulted to. And there was some talk about, neither of them really look any younger. Honestly, I don't think that's really a thing for flashbacks unless it's something where, like obviously with Daryl, when they're showing him as a child, they're not going to use Norman for that, So if it's something where they're a child and it really was, they would have looked so different and been a different height, and then of course they're gonna cast somebody for that. But here, if it's just to an earlier time when they were both adults or both teenagers, I mean, um, a lot of times Hollywood just doesn't really worry about that. Even though people can tell they look a little older than the last time, I just don't think they really care. As an example, this still makes me chuckle. So a lot of you know I was also a big Supernatural fan, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in Supernatural. He was only in the first two seasons, um, and then they killed off his character, and so that was like 20 years ago, right? But they did bring him back near the end of the series, which went 15 years, right? So it was a long running series, and they did this whole it's a clearly from the name, it's a paranormal supernatural kind of thing, and they brought him back he couldn't actually be alive because they had killed him off, but they brought him into the future from the past sort of thing, and it was just a one episode thing, and then it didn't work out. He had to go back to his real time, yada yada. The point is, I had to laugh at it because if they were, in terms of the continuity of what was happening in the story, he should have looked like he did at the beginning of the series. Back then, not only did Jeffrey D. Morgan look a little younger, he was carrying a little more weight, so he was a little huskier. And, that's just what he looked like at the beginning. And this was supposed to be him coming from even earlier than the series, like when the two main guys were still kids. And they did not even a little bit attempt to make him look younger or look like he did at the beginning of the series. He looked like Negan. Plain and simple. That's what he looked like. So they just didn't care, and they just didn't try to change his appearance. I was going, oh, I think it could be a flashback. I don't think they'd worry too much about changing the appearance for anything. But what I think a lot of people noticed right away too is this does not look like the apocalypse. They both look very clean. They're pretty modern clothes, not like the tattered rags we tend to see on our apocalypse survivors. And as we got more pictures, there's even like decorations. It looks kind of Christmassy, which is interesting. Um, and so people were saying, okay, well, maybe it's a dream sequence. Yeah, it could be a dream sequence for sure. So I've looked at a lot of things, but the one that really struck me, and we'll get to this as we go along, is somebody tagged me in something where we can actually hear some of the dialogue between Maggie and Negan, and she tells him she's divorced, which we know did not happen. So I'm going to get a little more into that and what I think is going on, and talk about it a little bit more when I get to that ask. But I think that this is more of an AU sort of thing, alternate universe. And what it brought to mind for me was in season 8, just before Carl died. Remember, we had Rick's old man sequence, and that led to a whole sequence where at the time Judith was only like 2 years old, but we saw her as an older child, more like 8 or 10. And then they went out into the community, and we didn't see the end of it until after Carl had died. But it wasn't a dream sequence, and it wasn't certainly wasn't a flashback. It really wasn't a flash forward, but it was Carl's vision of what could be if the war ended with the Saviors, because they were right in the thick of it there, and he actually wanted Negan to kind of become a good guy and become part of the community. And we actually saw little Judith kind of take a liking to him. Now, I think this might be something like that. It's an alternate universe. I don't know in what context it will be in Dead City. And I mean, to be fair, she could be having a dream and she's dreaming of an alternate universe, so it could be both. Um, anyway, but here's the thing. Everything that happened in Carl's alternate universe vision, whatever you want to call it, actually did play out in the show. Not literally, like we didn't literally see that happen, but we saw Judith as an older child after that. We saw Negan basically get a redemption arc, and even though he hasn't really ever been a super welcome part of the community, we have seen him, Team Family and our survivors be okay with him. They're not actively trying to kill each other anymore. And him and Maggie, even though they do have a very tense relationship, they've helped each other. They've become allies at points. So I will say that everything that happened there did happen. Now we have this, whatever it is, and if Beth is in it, well, there you go. That's pretty much all we need to say, right? So, just as Carl's vision was a foreshadow of what would happen in the show, I do believe when we see this, this will be too. So then the question is, why are they flaunting it? Well, I honestly think a lot of it is for us. A lot of it is for the GA at large. I mean, anytime they have an important guest like this, they do tend to advertise it a little bit more. And I don't think they mind advertising this because just her being in the sequence isn't her returning officially. They have plausible deniability here. They can say, oh, that was just a dream sequence. She's not actually back, So they don't mind promoting it and getting more eyeballs on Dead City. The reason I say it might be for us is because I know not all TDers watch Dead City. They probably want to up the audience, and this will be true of the GA too. People who like Beth will want to watch it because she's going to be in it. But they know we're watching, and so they're giving us this, like, oh, we're going to go ahead and let you see that this is happening and that she'll be in this. So can we all just take a minute to appreciate that once again, TD was right about this? I mean, how long have we been saying this? I mean, boo, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I think is going on. In terms of the show, it probably will be more of a, something that isn't obvious that this is her returning. Now, could she still return in Dead City? Yeah. I mean, this would be really interesting if they do this, say this is episode 4 or something, and then in episode 8, like at the very end, we see her for real. That would be really interesting and an interesting way to reintroduce her. But the point is, this particular sequence is not going to make the audience think that's what's happening. People are going to assume, and probably rightly so, that this is a dream sequence or an AU or a flashback or whatever, right? So yeah, super fun, super interesting, super cool. Let's go through some of these asks and also some of the posts that people tagged me in. So let's see. This is an ask, and okay. Hope you're checking your ask because Emily Kinney was spotted filming Dead City. A lot of these are just people telling me, which I really do appreciate. I just got flashbanged by this and I feel like I had a heart attack. What's going on? I think we all felt that way. I understand. Okay, next one. She has a guitar, trying unsuccessfully to keep my excitement in check. Yep, we're with you. So I had been speculating since the summer that what she'd been filming might actually be Dead City rather than Daryl Dixon, even though Daryl Dixon is the more obvious choice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, TD, right about this, right? We were pointing to the locations. We've been wondering about Dead City. And one thing that it also reminds me of, and I think I'm like pretty sure I said this before, but I didn't really think of it until someone pointed it out to me just in the last few months. But when the music box woke up in 5:10, Daryl was not actually present for that, but Maggie was. Maggie and technically Aaron, who might in that case, in the sense of the analogy, like in the sense of the symbolism, might represent Beth anyway. But it was Maggie and Sasha, and now Sasha has died. So she's not on the show anymore. So, of the people who are currently on the show or currently in spin offs, because Aaron is not, Maggie's the only one that was actually there when the music box woke up. So, if that was intentional symbolism, and, we all really go hard about how, everything Gimple does is intentional, then that really does suggest that it will be Maggie who finds her first. So yeah, really kudos to you for speculating about this and congratulate yourself because you are right. Um, okay, so we had this summer a cameo video where she said she was looking forward to working with Lauren Cohan in the future. So she was hinting at stuff. Then we had her say she'd be attending a con in Boston the same week Dead City was going back into production in Boston. The entire convention got canceled, but she was still noticeably MIA on socials that week. So I love that too. Like, that's a really good point. It kind of sucks for them that they were like using that as cover and then it got canceled. So they were just like, okay, Emily, shh, don't say anything. But I mean, it just goes to show that us following her movements, especially to the cons and in Europe and all the things, it's yielding some fruit here, right? So then in December, we do know she flew to the East Coast and was staying at a hotel. Could that have been for a costume fitting or something for the scene? Maybe. I guess what I'm trying to get at is dream sequence or not. I don't think this is the only thing she filmed for Dead City. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So very good. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Natural Blue. I don't even care if it's just a dream sequence. They've spent so many years not even speaking Beth's name after Coda that having EK on screen, interacting with people has me over the fandom moon. My green girl's back together. Yeah, I know. Like we haven't gotten them together in a long time. So I think this is good vibes, like you said, for 2026. Thank you, 2026. And to me, it's just kind of, I mean, a foreshadow, but also I think they're hinting that this is our year. You know what I mean? To have this, somebody else says this, and I'm not sure where it is, so it might be repeated, but, or you know what? Maybe it might have been one of my, it might have been one of my fellow theorists who said it, just that it's been so quiet for like 6 months, especially ever since Daryl Dixon finished the last season, and then just out of the blue, this happens. I mean, again, this wasn't something really that spoiler cameras sought out. They're practically posing for the camera, and they're obviously in a public place where anybody can see them. And it might be blocked off for filming for sure, but I mean, it really feels like this was, people say leaked, but I'm putting massive quotation marks, air quotes around leaked because I think it was very, very intentional for them to give us this. So, yeah, thank you. We're with you. Wake Up Beth Green is back, just likely just for a dream sequence, but yep, absolutely. What are your thoughts about Emily filming a dream sequence for Dead City? It's been so long, I feel like the scene will either prove she's alive or confirm she's not coming back. I actually don't think it will do either. I think that it's going to seem very logical in terms of what's going on with Maggie in the show. So on the surface, I don't think it will do either one. It's not going to prove she's alive, and it's not going to confirm she's coming back, and it's also not going to prove she's dead. Especially if it's an AU, it specifically will not pertain to the actual reality, right? But we are definitely going to be analyzing the crap out of it because everything that's in it will be symbolic, and I'm going to get to some of that we're already seeing. But yeah, so I think if anything, it will be a hint. I wish I could say that this will prove something, but the sequence itself probably will not. It's going to act as a hint and a foreshadow, but it also has to logically fit into the plot of what's happening in Dead City. So I'm not expecting anything that's like a smoking gun necessarily, but we're definitely going to be looking at the symbolism and reading a lot into it. All right. Saw this on Facebook. Do you think it's true or not? I want to believe so bad. I mean, yeah, it is true. Like I said, at first we weren't sure. And at first, you could theoretically wonder if the two of them were just hanging out, like Emily was visiting the set. But see, stuff like this, these are people who are filming that are fixing their costumes. And the more we got, the more obvious it was that this is a scene that's being filmed. So yeah, it's definitely true. It's probably not literal in the show. It's probably more of an AU or a dream sequence, but it's definitely real. Okay, I have been raving madly about this in my own corner, but thoughts on the possibility that Negan would be the one to find her. Personally, I think it's perfect. It makes Carl's last wishes mean something. Yeah, good point. It's the reason they imprisoned him and rehabilitated him and made it work with him. It will make Daryl so unreasonably mad that Bro is anywhere in her vicinity. Counting down the minutes until your next vid. Cannot wait to hear your thoughts. Thank you. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I hadn't even actually thought of it through that angle, but you're right. I mean, if you go back and watch Carl's last couple of episodes, there was actually a lot of Beth symbolism in them, and we weren't really sure what it meant. Um, so there was the phoenix in the sky right before he died, and we were going, okay, but the phoenix is always rebirth, and how is that going to work? Because Carl is clearly dead and not coming back. Um, but maybe this is how we've been trying to interpret that. Maybe because Carl's death led to Rick. Okay, you guys, if this is a thing, holy cow. Carl's death led to Rick sparing Negan. And if Negan has some hand in bringing Beth back, then she's the Phoenix we saw at Carl's death. And I want you to think about that, really think about that. If that's true, and we can't say for sure that it is, it's still a theory right now, but if that's true, that's like a 5-step symbolic future arc that took, okay, what are we at here? From 8 to 11, if whether we want to call that 3 or 4 seasons, and then 4 seasons of Daryl Dixon and 3 seasons of Dead City. That's how far ahead Gimple was thinking. Okay, if that's true. So people really got to get over this. You're giving the writers too much credit. They wouldn't plan this much. That's exactly what they do. That's exactly what Gimple does. So that's nuts. That's like amazing, but it's crazy. So great job pointing that out. Thank you. I had not even thought about, I hadn't taken it far enough into Carl's death episodes and what that might mean, but that's amazing if that's true. So, once again, I hope that at some point Gimple will come out and tell us what was planned and what led to what and everything, just because I really want to know what his thought process always was. But again, remember that he has openly said, I think it was on TTD, that he had at one point, and I think this was in I think it was after season 5, but it might have been like season 7 or 8. He said he had through season 15 planned out. So he does plan way far in advance. So awesome. Um, okay, so this is just the has the photo, so I'm not going to go to that because we're looking at it. Now, this is the one, and I should have pulled this up. Hold on. Okay, so this is the one I was telling you about where we can hear the dialogue, and it's probably not going to let me actually share the I don't want to try to share the audio with you and then have YouTube flag it. So I will put this link in the show notes and you can go to it if you want. But we can actually hear them talking. So again, this is how you can tell that this is being filmed. This is part of a scene. And in this AU, or whatever it is, they are they clearly know each other. I mean, they don't seem like BFFs or anything, but they're talking and they seem to be friends. In fact, look, if you can look down at Lauren's feet, you can see her mark where she's supposed to stand. That's the mark that she's standing on. Anyway, so she says, "You want to tell me what the hell that was? I told you about my divorce, my dead dad, my sister." And of course, this person went, "Divorce?" They're just making shit up again, right? No, what I think the thing is here is it's again, it's an AU, so this did not happen in real life, but I'm even wondering what this made me think of is maybe this is an AU where the apocalypse didn't happen, again, because of their clothing and how clean it seems, and it seems like society is working normally. So if that's the case, honestly, she might never have met Glenn. The main reason she met him was because of the apocalypse. So when she says divorce, I'm sure that the Maggie Glenn major shippers are going to freak out about that. But it doesn't say she divorced Glenn. I mean, I think in this AU, maybe she married somebody else who was not her soulmate. And so eventually they got divorced. Maybe that's just kind of what they're going with for this. I don't know, of course, that's my speculation, but that seems like it would work. And again, if society is functioning in this AU, then I don't think Glenn would have, or I mean, Negan would have killed Glenn because he would be in prison for that if we have a working society, right? So, whatever's going on, I just wanted to comment on that. When she says divorce, I don't think they're talking about Glenn because this is an AU. But that's really, really interesting. Proves that they're filming this. This is not just something random. You know, this is an actual scene. So, yeah, thank you for that and for sending that in. OMG, our girl is back. Dream sequence or not, Beth is coming home. Agreed. Okay, so these are some things that I was tagged in. I'm just going to show a few of these posts, more DC S3 leaks. Maggie takes off her red scarf at some point to reveal her green sweater. Good point. We've got red and green going on. According to the red green symbolism theory, this likely means Maggie will find her sister alive very soon. I totally agree. Couldn't have said it better myself. Um, what has anyone seen this? This is just the announcement. This calls it a flashback, but again, I do know that some of the sites are calling it a flashback. And again, it could be, we could be wrong, although I don't know how Negan being there would make it a flashback. But keep in mind that whatever they're calling it, whether it's a flashback or a dream sequence or whatever they're calling it, I don't think they know that for sure. I think that this is them speculating. We have not gotten any of the powers that be confirming what this is yet. So even if it says this is a dream sequence or this is a flashback, keep in mind that they're assuming that, but it's not 100% for sure that's what it is. Um, but I do think it's interesting that we have all these announcements now that Emily will be returning as Beth in Dead City, and then mentioning she left in 2015 because her character was killed off. Um, I mean, any way you slice it, that's kind of suspicious because they came out pretty much as soon as the filming pictures, everything we've got here came out. And the fact that it happened so at the same time feels like it was intentional. And then, if it wasn't, and they just saw the pictures and hurried and popped up this announcement, to get views for their site, that's what they do, then they're just doing that because they saw the pictures too, which means anything they say is really more fan based than powers that be. You see what I mean? Like any way you slice it, it's interesting. So yeah, thanks for that post. Emily has been spotted filming with Lauren on the set of Dead City. It appears to be a dream sequence. She has her guitar. It looks to be Christmas time, and JDM is also present. Our girl's on her way back to us. So yeah, let's talk about this. I saw some things talking about the guitar. Number one, of course, she was playing the guitar the last time we saw her, which was Tyrese's dream sequence. The fact that she's carrying it is important. It's the musical element. But remember that Daryl also had a guitar for a while that he was carrying around. Could that have been a foreshadow of what we're seeing here? Probably. And it's just that much more important that he had the guitar, since he does not play the guitar, to connect these things, right? Christmas is another one. We still have that never got a present from Santa Claus thing in the I Never game from Still. So it's interesting that it's Christmas time. And then, of course, as we saw, not only is Jeffrey Dean Morgan there, but they're filming a scene, which means this couldn't really be a flashback, because if this was a genuine flashback to when Maggie and Beth were shopping together at Christmas time before the apocalypse happened, Jeffrey Dean Morgan would not be there, and she certainly would not know him. So I don't think there's any way this is a legitimate flashback. It has to be either a dream sequence or an AU or a future pacing vision like Carl's was, something like that. Okay. All right. I think that's all I have for now. Well, actually, let me check one more thing. So I was looking through the chat for me and my fellow theorists to see what else I could find. There's not a whole lot more than what I've already talked about here, but in one of the clips of this, which I will also put this link below, we see a couple with a baby carriage and then someone walking three dogs. One of them is white, the other two are black, so we're already seeing symbolism in this. WD Way says, here's the headcanon I've had this afternoon with about the photos with Lauren and Emily. What if Maggie does have a what if dream about Beth? Wouldn't it be great if she wakes up from this dream and has flashbacks of Beth, quick, short flashbacks that we've never seen post the parking lot? She means in Coda, just enough to make us all go, what the hell was that? So that would be super cool. We don't know that they're doing that. That's just a headcanon, but I would love that. I was like, yeah, I'm here for that, no doubt. Oh, yeah. And then there's also the question that I haven't mentioned of the song the album, the TWD album that was coming out. So WD Way says, the guitar makes me quite happy. I wonder if we'll also hear a song in the stream or whatever it is. And it makes me wonder if she does sing a song, if maybe this is part of the reason her new music has been delayed until after this airs. And we're wondering why the album was originally announced as coming out the end of the year, before end of year. Good heavens, if I can read. Um, don't know what the answer to that is either. It could just be that they were originally going to bring it out before this happened, and then for whatever reason, it was just a timing thing and they decided to wait till after. But I do think that this is probably linked to that album. I mean, it was so suspicious, the whole thing. And I know that there are going to be people who will say, oh, well, then the album was just about this, just about her Dead City appearance. It's not about her coming back. But again, that's just people who are either worried or skeptical. And I 100,000% believe that this in Dead City is a precursor to her return. And in fact, we've said that a bunch of times. Before she returns, we'll probably see her in some iteration, or, we've said maybe Daryl will talk about her. But this is the iteration of her showing up even before they actually bring her back. So I'm not worried about that. So Gladriel Jones says, I just wanted to report to you guys that I've been scrolling Twitter a bit this morning, and the response to Emily being on set is overwhelmingly positive. There are, of course, haters and people who think this is stupid, but most people are really excited to see Beth and are so happy to see her and Maggie together. This person says, likely a dream sequence, but holy, Team Delusional is going to have the last laugh in the end. 100% we are, which does lead me to one other thing before I wrap up. So Natural Blue sent me this. I'm not actually going to click on it and read it, but I can leave the um, link in the show notes. So basically, the Dark Ship is mad about Emily filming again, and they're back to infantilizing Beth and saying, "Oh, she was like Sophia. She was like a sister. She was like a little girl." Just the things they always say. So do realize that the Dark Ship is angry. And they're probably going to get even more pissy, as it gets closer, as we see more of this, and certainly as it shows up on the show, because they know that we'll be reading into it. And anyway, so just to say that, watch out for that. But we actually, if you're the kind of person that kind of likes laughing at what they say, we're probably going to get some entertaining posts here as we get closer. And then Natural Blue also shared this, which I have talked about and shared before. This is Emily at one of the European cons, and her saying, and this was only a few months ago, you guys, and it's the thing where she says, yeah, I wasn't that upset when she died before, but now maybe they could find out she's actually alive or something. And again, this was exactly when we were watching her movements. This was only a few months ago, and now we have this in Dead City. So she was 100,000% hinting that Beth's soon coming back. And we knew that, but of course we couldn't prove it. And not that this proves she's coming back for real, but she's back now. So in some iteration. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to stop. Congratulations to us, and I'm so excited, and congratulations to Emily and to Lauren, and it's going to be really exciting. And now everyone's going to be tuning in a lot bigger to watch Dead City. And that was the other thing I was going to say. There have been some characters, small characters, such as like Morales, right? Who they didn't announce he was going to be on it, but it's because other than being mentioned every now and again and what happened to Morales, he didn't really have much of a fan base on The Walking Dead, so there wasn't really any upside to spoiling that. It was kind of something they could leave more for their really loyal viewers to see when it was on. But for the bigger characters who make a return, they've almost always found some way to promote it. I can't remember for sure what promotion they did for the episode Rick was leaving in, but I know there was a lot. Like, I know it got announced between seasons, so before season 9, that Rick was going to be leaving. And I do remember them promoting that some of the old characters, like John Bernthal, and I remember them talking about Scott Wilson because he had already passed, so they were using AI for that, basically. And that was all promoted. So what I'm trying to say is that even though we know that they want to keep it a secret and they don't want to um, give spoilers for it. At the same time, it's actually much more in their best interest to promote something so that people will watch the show. Because if they don't say anything, not as many people are going to watch the show. And yeah, I mean, there'll be a huge fan. Oh my gosh, this person showed up. And then lots of people will go back and watch it retroactively. But it's much better for them if people watch it the first time it comes up, right? So the point is, it's better for them to give at least some mild spoilers that somebody is, there's a returning character to get more eyeballs on it when it first drops. And I do believe that's what this is. Now, like I said, of course, this is not her that we've seen. The images we have is for some sort of AU, so that in and of itself doesn't show Beth's return for real. But as other people have speculated, if she does show up at the end of Dead City, and that would make sense, because of the symbolism, maybe it will be Maggie, maybe it will be Negan who finds her, because people have already seen that she's going to be in it, even as just like a flashback or a dream sequence, that's going to get more eyeballs on the season. So people are more likely to see the actual return if it happens in the season. And I think, I don't know for sure, but I think there's a very good possibility that that's what they're doing here. So, yay, and very exciting. And now I'm super excited to see Dead City. And yeah, I'm going to call it there for today. I'm going to try to get another video out later in the week that'll just be trying to finish up the asks that I still have. And I keep saying this, but I'm going to do some deep dives into things. I actually kind of want to do a deep dive into Carl's death now and a few other things surrounding this. So yeah, anyway, just videos for the future. So absolutely. And we'll keep an eye on things, see what else they leak for us. And yeah, this is just super exciting. So thanks to everyone who sent things in and tagged me and let me know. And I really appreciate it. And yeah, we can all celebrate together. So talk to you again soon.